Well, as usual, it's time to call out Channel 1, and I just want to mention that I won't be going to Channel 1 Studios on the 15th next month, because I spoke to my friend, and we're going to hang out in Midtown, because he's staying at a hotel by Penn Station, but yeah, so that Chelsea plan fell through, and I'm kind of glad it did, because I'm not really in the mood to travel the 14th Street anyway, but in that regard, yes. Let's call out the fine folks at Spectrum. Let's stay on topic. So, obviously, nothing about the crime going on, nothing about news that matters to me in Queens, so we're going to get into a lot of it in this video. So, I have it well organized today. So, first things first, I want to mention that, of course, today's thumbnail features this Channel 1 reporter, who I don't even know who she is, and it says ignoring Queens, because that's what we're best at doing at. But when something happens in Queens, let's spend 2 minutes talking about sharks in Rockaway Beach. Oh boy, they're trying to become just like News 12 South Shore. No surprise there. Okay, so let's get to the first major news. And again, we're only going to focus on Queens because I have just lost my patience talking about the other boroughs. Unless something major is going on in Manhattan, then I'll talk about it, because as you know, again, most time, a lot of people know this about me. I'm in Manhattan or I'm in Long Island. So I can't be talking about the Bronx or Brooklyn as much these days, because then I won't get to talk about what I need to talk about. So, if it's Manhattan or Queens news, I'll talk about it. But so far, nothing major has been going on in Manhattan this weekend, other than the usual shootings in Harlem, which I'm not going to get into that, because it didn't happen in Midtown, and it certainly didn't happen in the unusual spots like Lower Manhattan or the Upper East or Upper West Side. But in any regard, look what happened in Queens. Back on Friday night, we have a shooting. Pullman Oak houses, 6704 Parsons. Confirmed male shot. And by the way, I will mention, this is literally 2 blocks south of the 107 precinct on Jewel Avenue. So, obviously the police did come very quickly because it happened right by the precinct. But, this is what goes on that Channel 1 decides just to ignore. And we're not even going to watch in the papers because, again, the thumbnail describes it all. Ignoring Queens. Okay, so let's get into some other serious stuff going on in Queens. Car thefts are going up again after what I was talking about earlier this week. But now we got homeless breaking into cars that are abandoned because they're looking for a place to sleep at night. They're not looking to, steal things from the cars. So here we go. So this happened from Glen Oaks to Bayside, according to Laura Uhl. Police report glasses broken into mainly on Union Turnpike, 73rd Avenue, by the Clearview Expressway and Little Neck Parkway to the public parks. Most people whose vehicles were broken into didn't have anything missing, so they only wonder why people were sleeping inside. So obviously we know that Eric Adams is being finger pointed because the homeless shelters are being overcrowded, and the city stations have done a good job covering that. I'll give them credit on that. Look at this. According to the swag man himself, that's what I'm going to call him because he has so much swagger that he claims, there's no law against sleeping in your car as long as it's legally parked in designated areas at your own risk. However, if it's an intruder caught sleeping inside the car, license, registration, and insurance must be presented to or hold to a local police precinct pending charges with desk appearance tickets. Yep. So we can't use a federal legal loophole to get against bail reform. Nope. The same for homeless camps as long as it's not blocking routes, causing nuisance and time slots assigned. One example is Alley Pond Park. So you're not allowed to sleep at Alley Pond Park or Cunningham Park, which is another example, closing at 9 p.m. without exceptions. So, other news getting ignored in Queens. Look at this. From last weekend to this weekend, 14 drivers targeted for their vehicles. Queens Boulevard, highly targeted. 6 drivers. Thieves take off with the vehicle. So, I'm telling you, Queens Boulevard is getting way too dangerous. And again, I really wish the 110 precinct would be doing more patrols. But they don't want to. And especially because they can be confronting homeless people who, as I said, the homeless people on Queens Boulevard, especially because it was the first day of the heat wave on Tuesday, you know, again, as somebody who's in healthcare, especially because I showed the ambulance my Northwell tag, listen, you know, you can't be drinking rum on a hot day. You really can't be. Because alcohol poisoning in 90-degree weather is not a good combo. I mean, thank God the guy didn't have a gun. But, you know, bottom line is you can't be hanging. You can't be loitering. You can't be loitering on Queens Boulevard. You know, that's unacceptable. Yeah, Long Island. I'm not even going to get into that. You know, I have to focus on my neck of the woods. So, we got Maspeth, fire, junkyard fire. So, that got ignored. Shooting in Corona, 102nd Street and 50th Avenue. Okay, anything else? Yeah, look at this. Apartment fire in Flushing. 143-33 Sanford Avenue. I think I know exactly where this is. Let's look it up. Just want to see where this is. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Yep. Right by PS20. Yep, my gut was telling me where this was. You can't fool me there. And then this is what I wanted to get into. Armed robbery in Fresh Meadows. First of all, why did Laura Uhl put Flushing? This is Fresh Meadows. Yeah, I know exactly where this is. 182nd Street and 69th Avenue. Suspect male Asian displayed a gun and pushed another male inside the home. They took off with a watch. Probably a Rolex. This is a possible dispute over money owned from an illegal gambling den in Flushing and was targeted in Fresh Meadows. Police from the 107 precinct did not disclose the information if the matching description or if the suspect is the same one for a similar incident in Flushing back in June, when another male was attacked inside an illegal gambling den in downtown Flushing. The perps took money and a Rolex from the males. He told you it was a Rolex watch. Ha! And then look at this. One of my viewers took a picture when I was watching Hannity the other night. That's so funny. But yeah, in all serious note, look at this. 2 shootings in Corona. 2 shootings in Corona. 104th Street and 41st Avenue. 11 people shot from Friday to Saturday. Yeah, we'll get to the shooting in Astoria because that was disturbing. And I saw on the Bayside Queens Facebook group, there was a really serious accident. Clearview Expressway, a Toyota RAV4 rammed into a big tractor-trailer truck southbound by exit 3 on the Clearview. So, I can confirm that the local firehouse that's right by Osnum Hall did respond to this yesterday, because I double-checked on the NYC Firewire app. Okay, and then look at this. 73rd Avenue and Main Street, shooting in Kew Gardens Hills. And this is normally a safe area. This is an Orthodox Jewish community. So here we go. 107 Precinct reported multiple suspects living in a Pullman Oak housing were on the chase by 107 Precinct after observing illegal activity. Jewel Avenue and Christina Boulevard. Then the 107 precinct went over to Main Street where shots were fired from the suspect's vehicle, a Toyota Corolla. The vehicle was stopped on Main Street after 73rd Avenue, resulting in multiple accidents. One of the bullets pierced through an innocent girl who was walking on Main Street. Following the crash, multiple suspects were in custody. 107 precinct are searching for more involved. EMS is working to transport a girl to a local hospital. Yeah, she probably got taken. If this happened by Main Street and 73rd, the only two hospitals I think they could have taken the girl were probably... Oh, if it's a pediatric patient, she was probably taken to Booth. Because Booth Memorial has a pediatric center. Okay, and I'm looking for anything else. Yeah, here we go. Just happened last night. Same 7-Eleven that got robbed in Queens Village a couple weeks ago. You really cannot make this stuff up. A worker was stabbed or slashed during the incident. I mean, look how disturbing this is. And look at this. Another multi-vehicle accident in Queens. Right by exit 32. Okay. So, let's get to the news that matters in Queens, shall we? So, I'm going to scroll down on this New York Post article. An off-duty corrections officer was shot in Queens. Yeah, here we go. Steinway Street. Yes. This was a robbery. So let's read this. If I can find it. At around 4:50 a.m. yesterday morning, a 39-year-old off-duty NYPD correction officer was shot in the leg during a robbery on Steinway Street in Astoria. Police from the 114th Precinct said the off-duty officer was robbed for his watch and chain, a spokeswoman from the 114th said. The victim was taken to Elmhurst Hospital in stable condition, according to the 114th Precinct. The three robbers fled in a black Nissan sedan, said the 114th Precinct. So, according to this, the City Correction Union is offering a $10,000 reward. Wow. Okay, so I think there's more specifics in this article. Let's see if I can pull it up. Yeah, so this happened at a nightclub. If I'm correct. No! Happened right by a money transfer. Ooh, that is not good. Yeah, those money transfers, they could be very shady places. You gotta really watch your back over there. Especially with a lot of people disputing money with inflation these days. It's... ugh. Yeah, so the cop was leaving a nightclub. Like I figured. So the 39-year-old officer was robbed of his chain and watch. So... yeah, 114th Precinct believed that the suspect took off in a Nissan. A black one. So... I mean, there you go. No surprise there. And then there was another shooting in Queens. Let's read this one. Oh, okay. So this was the shooting that Laura Uhl was talking about. So a double shooting. So this happened yesterday, right? So two victims were in a dispute before an unidentified gunman shot them both. Officers on the 110 found one victim shot multiple times in chest. The victim was taken to Elmhurst Hospital, listed in critical condition. Okay, the second victim was taken to Elmhurst and was also treated. Okay, so I'm going to read two more because, again, as I said, I can't be focusing on the Bronx and Brooklyn as much these days, guys. You know, I have to focus on Manhattan and Queens because, again, those are areas that I have too much concern about. You know, I can't be overwhelming myself as much. Okay, so let's read this hit and run incident in Long Island City. Dwayne Borviel from Richmond Hill was charged with leaving the scene of a crash at 44th Drive and Vernon Boulevard in Long Island City after he drove into a 30-year-old man on a stand-up electric scooter Wednesday evening, July 20th. Borviel turned himself in just before 9:30 on Friday, a spokesperson from the NYPD said. Horrific surveillance video obtained by the New York Daily News shows the suspect slamming into the man on a two-wheeler at high speed. The victim was thrown onto the street and suffered severe head wounds. Paramedics brought the man to Bellevue for treatment. Oh! Right. Because I don't think Elmhurst has a trauma center. Right, Bellevue has a much better trauma center. That makes sense. Because you also have the other hospital in Long Island City. I forget the name of it at the moment, but I don't think they have a trauma center either. Yeah. So, here's an epic fail by the NYPD. The victim, Brandon Mahomos, they claimed that he passed away from his injuries, but he's still in critical condition at Bellevue. Oh boy, I mean, that has to be one of the worst blunders the NYPD has ever made. That's crazy. And then the initial NYPD report also mislabeled the scooter rider as a motorcyclist? You really cannot make this stuff up. You really can't. Okay, and last but not least, propane tanks explode in a 2-alarm blaze. So this was the fire that was reported by Laura Uhl. So here are more details about it. Fire department personnel responded to the blaze, which ignited about 3 p.m. on July 22nd inside the warehouse at 57-56 Maspeth Avenue. Upon arriving, the first units encountered heavy fire and several small explosions of propane tanks. More than 100 firefighters in all worked to bring the fire under control. Members of Hazmat Unit 1, which was based in Maspeth, were called to deal with the propane tanks. No serious injuries. The blaze was brought under control at about 4:15 p.m. So, obviously, I'm just going to take a look to see if anything else is here. Anything in Manhattan that's a major concern. If there's not, then I'll conclude my remarks for today. But so far, yeah, I'm not seeing anything in Manhattan other than the Midtown Community Court. They do need to reopen that. I'm in agreement, but you know Alvin Bragg. He's not going to care. He's not going to care. Yeah, stabbing in Harlem. No surprise about what's going on in Harlem. I'm not. Yeah, subway crime. Again, I'm not even going to get into that. Because as I said, I don't have the patience for it anymore. Especially because, again, if it doesn't happen, my general rule of thumb now, if anything happens below 100th Street in Manhattan, I'm going to talk about it. Because that's considered the Upper East or the Upper West Side. You know, I don't have the patience to talk about it as much anymore. Not when, you know, Queens is in a very bad shape right now. I have to focus on what's going on in my neck of the woods. Especially if it's a major robbery in Ridgewood, because Ridgewood's been seeing a lot more robberies this year. You normally think Ridgewood's a safe area, but not anymore, because that's what's going on in Queens. And then, you know, Fresh Meadows. What's going on with my neighborhood? A lot more robberies this year. We had a shooting back in April. I mean, you normally would think Fresh Meadows in Queens is a safe community. But not with everything going on right now. So, I'm not going anywhere. As I said, if it's again anywhere below 100th Street, anywhere in Queens, below 100th Street in Manhattan or anything in Queens, I'm going to talk about it. I can't stay silent. Alright? Because I care too much. Alright? And, you know, Long Island stuff, again, you want to watch about Long Island, just watch Pine Power LI at this point. Because I know the Mid-Island region's going through a lot right now. And it's just been so unfortunate to see what's been going on. I know a jewelry store got robbed last weekend in Greenville. Rosalind's been seeing a couple more incidents of crime. And not to mention, I'll wrap up the video by saying this. News 12 South Shore, they really call themselves South Shore 12 because, they bury the story about the power outages on Thursday after the storms rolled through in Syosset. So Channel 1 and Channel 12 both have something in common. They're selfish and they don't care about other stuff that matters to us. So I'm going to enjoy the rest of my Sunday. I have work tomorrow. I have to speak to the MTA tomorrow, and I'm done for today. And I know something else will come out this week, and I'm going to talk about it most likely. So, stay cool today. We may actually break 100 at this point. It's already 92 degrees outside as I'm recording this video. And again, nothing about the heat wave. All they have is the triathlon. Really? Really? So that's it. Thank you for watching.